Inner peace. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Blore on Mandalore. I am your host, Jeremy Blore, and we are doing a breakdown of Season 3, Episode 9, The Harbinger. I hope I said that right. The Harbinger. Harbinger. We move on. Phenomenal episode. Absolutely phenomenal episode. I've already watched it 3 times. Absolutely love this season so far. I mean, look, previous week we got a bit of and I'm going to use the F word, filler. We got a little bit of a filler last week, but it was still fantastic. We're still dropping some great concepts, some awesome themes, and some serious action. Look, is it because the season's going to end soon? Absolutely. I'll be the first one to say they dragged this whole TV show out to make as much money as possible, which is fine. They added some awesome lore, like the destruction of Camino. We're talking about the fall of Crosshair, literally the fall of tech. Bad Batch has been one of Star Wars' best TV shows, if not the best show that they have ever brought out. Is it in contention with The Mandalorian? For me, no. If anyone knows me, I'm the biggest Mandalorian fan. I could never give anything the highest regard that I could The Mandalorian. Now, multiple reasons, and I'll break that down on another episode. But to give you a little quickie, The Mandalorian's what brought me back into loving Star Wars. I was kind of falling out of love. Look, I wasn't really getting as much. It was a little bit of a dead time after the sequels. No one was really wanting to watch Star Wars. Everyone was just giving it so much hate because of Rey Skywalker. Look, I didn't care about that. That was not my issue. If any of you've watched the show before, you would know that I am a huge lover of everything Star Wars. But there was a period of time where I couldn't really watch too much. I wasn't really feeling the love like I used to. I think, honestly, yeah, it didn't help that so many people were hating on it from every single level, every single area. Prequel lovers, prequel haters, to everything in between. You're just gonna get a lot of hate around the sequels. You know, Solo dropped one of my favorite movies. Actually, probably if not my favorite movie of Disney's Star Wars. Actually, not even Disney Star Wars. Star Wars in general. Now that's a controversial thing. We get distracted. But I think the Bad Batch, I mean, this season has kind of sedimented, if they end it well, this could be the best TV show that Disney has ever brought out for Star Wars. Now, obviously, we're going to get a few more shows like The Acolyte. We're going to get Skeleton Crew coming later this year. And Acolyte's going to be out in a couple of months. And they look phenomenal. But it's really hard to beat the quality of, animation. Everything that's been going on has been incredible. I just watched the episode again with my girlfriend. And she was saying, oh my God, it looks realistic. Like, it actually looks real. That's the quality. So it would kind of suck if we got rid of it, but you know, it's hard to beat that kind of animation. Also, the build-up of 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. That's the 3D, not the 2D. The 2D, Genndy Tartakovsky, that was amazing. That has been some of my favorite content. Sadly, it's Legends. It got retconned as soon as the 2008 Clone Wars came out, which I grew up on the 2008 Clone Wars. I'm not upset about that. Anyways, yeah, it's hard to kind of build up to anything like the Bad Batch has. No matter how successful the show's been, everyone knows you can look back at 7 seasons of Clone Wars and figure out this is exactly why the clones act like this. This is how they're going to react in the future. This is what we're going to see if we put a clone in a situation. Because they're all about their brothers. They're all about how they can protect their own. And also, good soldiers follow orders. Order 66. So, Season 3, Episode 9, The Harbinger. Awesome episode. Let's give it a rating. Now, everyone knows that I'm a recency bias sucker. And for those of you who haven't watched this show before, recency bias is basically when you watch something, you are more favorable towards that because of how recently you've watched it. For me, I was unbelievably obsessed with everything that was going on with the sequels when they came out because I had the movie experience. Everyone loved it. And that kind of died down a little later. I love it still, but that's just a bit of an example. And with this, a lot of the time you will find that I'm going to be so bad. I'm going to be so bad. But I give this an 8 to an 8.5. Let's call it 8.25, right? It had awesome concepts, fantastic animation, non-stop action. Honestly, it kind of felt like a 10-minute episode, but it was a full 28 minute, I believe. Either way, it was jam-packed, the whole episode, not filler at all. I mean, and we get to see the return of our queen, Asajj Ventress, with some new stuff. Omega is a Jedi? Now, that's going to be something that a lot of people are going to start boiling their blood over. Why do we get so many Jedi? Bah, rah, 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 rah. They should be all dead. Rah, 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 rah. Shut up. The only thing that I'm thinking of is how many Mandalorian Jedi are they going to have? Because technically, Omega is a Mandalorian. She's Jango Fett. Well, I mean, she's the DNA of Jango Fett, altered to be a female. Well, they've made millions and millions and millions of clones. One of them had to at least be Force sensitive. If you think about the statistics, makes sense. It's just cool to see that it's Omega. What are they going to do? How many Mandalorian Jedi are there going to be? We're going to see Grogu. We're going to see Omega. And then we're going to see the old Vizsla clan going on from the Ahsoka series. Now, Sabine Wren, that is, by the way. So yeah, that's my only thing is like, how are they going to keep on creating more Mandalorians? Can we just kind of leave that to the side? Now, biggest Mandalorian lover, pow, 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 even the whole set. But it's good to know when to kind of slow down. You shouldn't bring too much into something and oversaturate because then people get sick of it. It's like having too much of your favorite food. For me, I love cheese. But if you're going to keep on feeding me cheese, I'm going to be like, that's enough. That's enough. I've had enough. Leave me alone. And that doesn't mean that I don't like cheese. I've got a lot of it. Give me a breather. I want something else. So if anyone talks to you about Mandalorians and cheese, you know they've been watching this channel. Okay, episode ranking. Now, at the end of the whole season of Bad Batch, I'm actually going to put everything together on a big whiteboard, and I'm going to stick it up in a ranking system. For those of you who haven't seen the show, then we have a ranking system. S tier, top. A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. Nothing really is going to get into D tier. D tier has to be some of the most horrible, unwatchable Star Wars that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I haven't seen that yet. Although everyone's got all that hatred towards it, all of the sequels, none of them have actually been in D tier. A lot of mine sit between S tier and high B tier, but I'm going to give this a high A tier. Why? Return of Asajj. Incredible. Omega. She's a Jedi. What? We also get the Batch fighting Ventress. So cool. When Crosshair flicks up the guns and the Batch theme starts playing, it's like, hell yeah, the boys are about to clap. And then they get clapped. I'll go into that. There's been a lot of awesome stuff that they've added in, but I just don't get that wow factor, which is why it brings it down from S tier. S tier for me is like, wow. Like, holy hell, this is Star Wars. This is incredible. Infiltration and Extraction, the 2 episodes that dropped a couple of weeks ago, together, they dropped simultaneously. They were S tier. 100%. You couldn't get better than that, personally, I think. And it's kind of led this season to do some incredible stuff. But we've still got heaps of episodes left. Yes, we're at the tail end, but we've still got heaps of episodes. So we'll see. Maybe another one's going to get an S tier. But this, for now, high A. I'm not going to give it anything lower than that because I just think they added too much cool stuff to even rank it anywhere lower than a mid A. Every single ranking system has high, mid, and low. I still think high A tier. Fucking awesome. 1 minute review. Let's go into it. Star Wars is getting interesting. They're adding a lot of Jedi. They are understanding the importance of music. And they're also banging out some great character arcs. Overview of this episode? Probably be, we are seeing a huge rise of villain to good. Fall of the Empire, you get to see that a little later. That's a lot of villain to good. But mainly Vader. This is a lot of Crosshair. He's come back. Asajj, who we know as an assassin warrior, Dooku's apprentice, incredible killer. To now she's not a Jedi, but she's a light side force user. She doesn't kill. And then we get a whole lot of the clones. They've gone from bad, like execute Order 66, let's kill all of the Jedi kind of bad. If you don't think that's bad, then bugger off. But we have execute Order 66 bad to, hey, I kind of feel bad for these guys. I mean, yeah, they did bad things, but now they've, they added towards the end, they've got inhibitor chips. Order 66. They couldn't help that. There are a few clones that were defective because of accidents, or even like the Bad Batch, they were made genetically different, so the chips wouldn't have worked. But we have that emotional connection that you see all through the Clone Wars, and then they are the biggest evil. Like Commander Fox, Coruscant Guard. That level evil. To, these guys, I mean, they followed orders. They did exactly what they were meant to do. They couldn't help it. And now we're kind of seeing them stuck. They're waking up. It's like the inhibitor chip is wearing off. What's going to happen to them? Season 2 explored a lot of the politics. Like, these guys are real humans. Yeah, they may be clones, but they're real people. Their accelerated aging means that we're going to need to take care of them. They're not going to live long, but we're going to have to take care of them. Even for that short period of time, we can't just forget them. Leave them behind, like the bygone era of the Jedi. They don't even want to use them as stormtroopers because they are too loyal. It's kind of scary. Where do you go? What's going to happen to them? And that was a lot longer than a minute review. But the general theme is redemption. Redemption. Okay, let's get into it. Look, guys, if you have watched this show before, you would know that I basically talk about the whole episode and I break down every individual part. But I'm going to do this a little differently this time. Now, I've been watching my old episodes back and I've been kind of reading through a lot of the comments and talking to the people that watch it in general. And a lot of them have said the same thing. For one singular person, the episodes are going for quite a long time. So we're giving it a new fresh facelift. We're evolving here at Blore on Mandalore, as we always will. We will evolve with the times. Whatever the crowd needs, we will please the crowd. And we are just going to work on talking points. That's what I'm calling them. I'm calling them talking points. They will span throughout the whole episode, but it's not going to be like an Asajj picks up her lightsaber and ignites it and strikes down the tentacle of the beast. Even though that sounds really cool when I say it just then. If you go through that the whole episode, it's like an hour and a half of me just describing exactly what you saw. You don't need to see that. But what you do need to see is why I think it's cool. Gotcha. Sales. I know how to sell my stuff. I hope. So, we open up to a gloomy Pabu. Ooh. Why do I think it's gloomy? Two things. It's foreshadowing something that's not going to be too happy. Not just in this episode. This episode wasn't necessarily depressing. This was like, oh, we're actually not safe here. Gloomy, dark, disturbing. Everything was really dark. Why? The Empire knows where they are. It's not hard to find them. One little thing that I like as well, I kind of realized when it came in, when it opened up and the clouds slowly faded away and you get to see Pabu as a whole island. Pabu is the Mount Tantus for the light side. Well, at least the good side of the clones. We have the Batch on Pabu, which is a tropical oasis, a beautiful area of rich greenery and amazing people and a fantastic culture, whereas we see Tantus, where it's dark, disturbing. The clones are forced to do multiple experiments, trying to force them being into clone X troopers. Ooh. And we see just a lot of dark, depressing stuff. But that same shot, I think we saw it in episode 2, when they were flying into Tantus. It was just, if you put them side by side, I'll give it. We see Pabu, and we also see Mount Tantus. Both of them together. See a little bit of similarities now, huh? Yeah. I can't see them, but it's on the screen right now. Editing skills. I just thought that was kind of cool. Like they're foreshadowing the fact that the Batch, they're getting a little closer to Pabu. Sorry, to Tantus. Pabu is not their home. They tried to stay there before and it didn't work. The Empire always catches up to them. And then they lose people. They lost tech. Because they tried to go up and save Crosshair. Which he doesn't know about still. It's wild that they don't know about Crosshair doing that. Genuinely, I think that's like, it kind of blows my mind. The dude is so secretive. They've trusted him. They've forgiven him for everything. Why is he still holding back so many secrets? It took a clone X trooper to come in there and just like actually go, "Isn't that right, brother?" And look at him, to him be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, they did this. What are you doing, mate? Tell them everything." Now, if it was me, if I was like Hunter or something, I'd be like, "Dude, sit down and explain every single little fucking thing that happened. I need to know." How else would you be able to take down your enemy if you don't know what's going on at the main base that they're trying to get into? I knew he was held captive, but at least they can know what goes on the inside. Anyways, what's really cool as they kind of open up to that shot right after you see that gloomy Pabu, it actually goes a little lighter, and you get to see the batch helping as a community. Even Crosshair's involved, begrudgingly. Wrecker. "Oh, no worries. Let's go fishing. Rah rah rah." And Hunter's like, "Yeah." Why? I keep on saying Hunter. I'm obsessed with Hunter. And then Crosshair's like, "Oh, yeah, no worries." But, I mean, he's still doing it. He's a good guy now, but he's still dark. Anyways. Oh, that was horrible. That was actually so bad. I'm so sorry. I just said Hunter about 50 bloody times. I'm not even going to edit that. You can see, I've got, the thing is, if you see my swollen face here, I have a wisdom tooth problem that I'm going to need to get taken out very soon. And it's kind of affecting how loopy I am right now. I'm like pumped up on medicine. Which is why, as well, this episode's going to be a little later on. This is coming out, it should be on Sunday, if everything uploads properly. It should be coming out on Sunday. So by then, I hope that everything's gone down. It's so swollen. I'm tired. I haven't really slept. But Blore on Mandalore doesn't wait for a silly little wisdom tooth problem, because the fans need to see what the fans need to see. Another little thing, the batch are super alone here. Obviously, they've got Rex and his whole crew going on in the background and doing all of their reconnaissance. But the Bad Batch are alone. I can actually say his name now. Hunter has really only got Fennec's info to rely on. They don't know what the hell M count is. They should know, but they don't. Fennec is the only one, and she's ignoring them. First of all, fuck asshole. She's such a prick. I don't know why. I get, yeah, she's a master assassin, and if you want to be assassin and kill people, you're not going to be like, "Oh, hey, can I help you out here?" Blah, 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 blah. You can't be a nice person if you're killing everyone all the time. But at least for the viewers who want to like the character, why is she such a loser? I like her so much in Book of Boba Fett. She's a badass. But, I guess everyone's got to have their arc. She did die and get revived by Boba, or at least she was close to death. So I guess that can be her redemption time. But yeah, the batch are just super alone. They've got nothing and no one, only themselves. And it's a little highlight in this one. But Omega walking down the beach, she stumbles up, and guess who we see for the very first time in live show? I'm not going to say live action. In a show since the Clone Wars, Asajj Ventress, baby. And of course, in true Asajj Ventress style, she comes out in a jump scare. Come on. You can take the girl out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the girl. Ventress jump scare, prime time. I don't care that they are retconning the Dark Disciple. They're not even really retconning it, but I don't care that they're changing what happened in the Dark Disciple. I really don't, because I didn't like the way Asajj died, and I don't actually like Quinlan Vos. Bit of a tosser. Obi-Wan hates him. I stand with Obi-Wan. But I'm glad they're bringing her back. She's a fan favorite. Everyone's wanted her. Hell, I've been waiting to see her in Battlefront 2 from EA, the 2018 or 2019 version, for years. They even have 2 slots left over, Ahsoka and Asajj Ventress. Everyone loves her. Everyone wants to see her. What I thought was cool as well, when they showed the ship, it was kind of like her original ship. I've got it written down here. The Jinavex Fanblade. But it's not the Jinavex Fanblade. It looks very similar, though. Kind of, if it turned up and then brought out that big fan, I think it would be. But you know what? It kind of looks like a paper plane that you make as a kid. That one that kind of it twirls around and it only falls, but it's like a bomber. But it will slowly just drop as it spins. Anyways, I thought it looks really cool. I miss her old ship though. I really do. Her old ship was so gangster. That massive fan blade. It was like Dooku when it came to his like parachute in space. How the hell's that gonna work? It doesn't. But it's fantasy. It's not sci-fi. It's fantasy. So we can get away with it. Also, her lightsaber. What? I'll touch on that later. What's Asajj Ventress's motive? Now, I know obviously she's helping out Fennec, right? Fennec goes, oh, look, these guys did a favor for me. Can you go just talk to them about M count? But she doesn't have to do it. Why is Asajj there? She clearly doesn't need money because she doesn't ask for anything other than the reason why Hunter wants the knowledge of M count. She's there because what I think she's looking for an apprentice. Possibly Omega could be Asajj Ventress after the end of the season. I think they're going to do a spin-off show of Omega and Ventress, and the Bad Batch have all died on Mount Tantus, or at least trying to get to Mount Tantus, and they are the only 2 left alive. Omega continues her training as a Jedi. Personally, that's what I think. But I think she's there to actually find or even pick up remnants of the Jedi. Yes, she started the I think it's called the Forgotten Path. We see it in Obi-Wan. We also see it in the games, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. I think I'll put up. I think it's called the Forgotten Path. If not, I'll put it right there. The mistake that I've made. But basically, it is a secret hideaway for the Jedi to kind of get them to safety because they don't want the Empire hunting them. And the Empire is going to be hunting them nonstop. At least they've got a safe house. So yes, obviously, you know, if the people who are watching are going, Jeremy, obviously they're there because because Asajj wants to meet someone who knows about M count, and maybe they've been able to tickle themselves with the Force. Yes, that could be the case. But personally, I think it could actually just be Omega is leading up to be Asajj's Padawan. And it kind of follows on with a little bit of that. She talks about M count, and it's actually the first time we've heard midichlorian. Thank God. I keep on getting so annoyed saying M count. The midichlorian count. Such a cool word. But she does it a little bit differently. Now, bygone are the era of Obi-Wan on Phantom Menace testing with blood and knowing exactly how high her M count is, and you know, judging based off that, and then going, oh, you know, you can go into training and then do all this stuff. No, Ventress wants to put an apple on your head and make you stand straight. What? And then she wants to go up and make you run up the mountain to get a white flower. And then she makes you go and touch an animal. What do you want about, Ventress? What do you want about? Although really cool, I kind of saw similarities between this episode and the way Ventress was looking at Jedi and understanding who is a Jedi and who can touch the Force. Similar to the Avatar the Last Airbender. When Aang was a child, all of the Masters of Airbending set out in front of him a roll of toys. Multiple toys from multiple different tribes, be that water, earth, fire, air, doesn't matter. Set out all of these toys. And then based on which toys he picked, it would determine whether or not he was the Avatar. Based on his previous life experience. Now, one of the toys was Roku's toy. The other one was Kyoshi's toy, blah, blah, blah. It feels a little more unconventional to test it this way, but obviously it works. And I love the sound, the Force sound. I can't describe what it is. It's kind of like a beautiful white noise, but you could feel it kind of unlock every time she did something. So when she was standing there, she keeps on falling. Omega keeps on falling and falling. And Ventress is like, oh, come on. She's grabbing the apple. Every time. And then she's like, forget about your conscious mind. And she closes her eyes and she balances and then, oh. It's the beautiful white noise of the Force. It was like a skill unlocked. Do I think it is smart? No. Use a bloody blood sampler. Obviously, the technology is not going to be there for everyone. But surely, if you're on the path and you're trying to find all of these Jedi, you're going to have a midichlorian tester. You're not just going to be like, oh, hey, by the way, all of you kids line up in a single file line and then just turn to me and hold an apple on your head and stand up straight. Ridiculous. Now, obviously, the second test was a little bit more stupid because she just wanted to talk to the batch. Why? Why did she want to do it? Because the batch are distractions. Omega is never, ever going to become a Jedi. If she even does, we don't necessarily know. It's not confirmed. I do think they're kind of confirming it because Asajj did admit to lying at the end of the episode. But the batch are her attachments. We see in the prequels, Yoda talks about attachments being bad for the Jedi because it will lead to the dark side. Because once you get attached to something and you just want, you want their safety, you want everything, and then you'll do anything, like Anakin and Padme. I'll do anything to make sure she doesn't die. Turns to the dark side so that he can revive her and keep her alive. Now, there's differences of Ki Alimundi. He had to have wives because his species was actually dying. And he was pretty much the last male of his species, so he had to repopulate. My boy was getting it done! But anyways, bygone are those times of attachments. However, I do think it still rings true towards the batch. Why? They're following her like a shadow. She can't do anything without the batch waiting, even Wrecker. Yeah, come on, Omega, you can do it. She breaks her concentration, falls. You can never fully adopt yourself into being a Jedi until you have forgiven everything else. Now, again, I'm going to go back on Avatar. I'm a huge Avatar fan as well. But when Aang was unlocking all of his chakras, he had to be prepared to lose Katara, his final one, to be able to unlock the Avatar state and to use the Avatar state for the rest of time. And whenever he needed, he would have to allow for the loss of his attachments. Obviously, his love at that time was Katara, and that was his biggest attachment. But it's not necessarily the same in this. Now, you can have attachments, but you just have to not hold on to them after their death. The Force gives life, and the Force takes life in order to create balance. That's all there is. In order to be a good avatar, you don't have to get rid of your loved one, but you have to know that when they go, it is their time, and you have to release them. The same with Star Wars. If you want to be fully fledged into the Force, you have to allow yourself to lose, because they are not going to be with you on your journey all the way. And in order to accept being your full potential, you have to be true to yourself and just yourself. Don't get it confused with being selfish. Being selfish, you can obviously take advantage of any situation. But the Jedi, the whole point is to remove any form of jealousy and lust and just in general attachment towards a being or an ideology. Remove yourself, become one and atone and unlock that last chakra. Okay. Just a quick thing as well. When Asajj was talking to Omega about M count, she said a really cool thing about how you might not really like the results. Now, why won't she like the results? Well, obviously, Asajj was taken as a child by Dooku, and in order to be a part of the dark side of the Force, she was tortured. She had to feel a lot of pain. Now, she became strong and she was a very cunning warrior, but she had to lose a lot of who she was, her innocence, in order to accept the ideology that Count Dooku was pushing on her. So, although it's awesome to understand how many midichlorians you have, and maybe you could be a Jedi, from experience, Asajj knows it doesn't always end well for you. Once you know the truth, it may harbor a lot of doubt, and it may lead you down a path that you might not want to be on. Like I assume Asajj didn't want to be tortured by Count Dooku in order to become stronger in the dark side, because pain and anger are leading to some of the strongest powers in the dark side. Rada, 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 rada. Okay. So, also another little thing, we kind of see something very similar recently of attachments to the Force, being Grogu and the Mandalorian. Now, a lot of people didn't like the way Luke handled Grogu. Personally, I'm actually in that camp. You know me. You know how much I love being happy with everything Star Wars. And I will forever want the best of the best for Star Wars and everyone to love it nonstop. But I think they did Luke really dirty. Now, Luke just gave up Grogu straight away, like it didn't even matter. He said, look, you can either choose this chainmail made of Beskar that the Mandalorian gave you, or you can pick up Yoda's lightsaber, which I thought Yoda's lightsaber was actually burned in the forge on Coruscant. What happened to that? What happened to the comics? The Vader comics? I thought they were canon. How did he get another lightsaber? Unless Yoda actually made one on Dagobah, but I don't think he would. Why would he make another one on Dagobah? Forget about it. But I'm watching you, Disney. If you're watching me right now, I'm watching you, buddy. I'm picking up. I don't like the way you did Luke. Luke is the kind of character that will allow himself to love, but he will also allow for second chances. Hello? What did he do for Vader? What I'm liking in this as well is Omega is actually kind of turning into Luke-esque. She looks at Crosshair after they don't like Ventress, and she goes, I gave you a chance. And he's like, ugh, I get it. All right. We'll give her a chance. But the thing is, it rings true. There's no good or bad. A lot of the time, there's just misunderstanding. The whole Skywalker saga is the tragedy of Darth Vader. Or at least the prequels to the original trilogy. It's the tragedy of Darth Vader. Yeah, he was awesome. And he was a really powerful Jedi when he was an Anakin Skywalker. But he was also the complete opposite. And his pure anger and hatred towards the Emperor after what happened to Padme. When he found out that the Emperor was the one that killed Padme. Because he definitely did that, by the way. Padme did not die because she was like, oh, so heartbroken. No, the Emperor definitely killed her. But I'll go into that in a bit. What I really thought was so cool when Omega was going on her second, when she was on her second little mission to see if she was going to be a Jedi or not. All the batch stood up and they were like, look, we know who you are. You are a Asajj Ventress assassin. You killed so many clones. She's a Night Sister as well. I mean, they killed multiple clones anyway. But we move on. We see the batch walk up getting angry at her. And she goes, look, fight me. They come out with blasters. Force away. We're going to see a little bit more of that Ezra Bridger force foo going on. Hoo-yah! Comes out. The batch go individually to take on Asajj. And she wipes the floor with them. She can take advantage of Wrecker's strength and turn him around and slam him into the ground. Hunter has got his incredible senses, but even they're not fast enough for someone like Asajj. Boom! Down. And then we get Crosshair, the cunning. And he flips her around and she's flipping with him and then bang! Dead. Down. Omega comes back. And she's like, guys, what the hell? What the hell? What's going on? And we see, Asajj kind of going, look, I actually don't want to kill these guys. I don't want to do anything wrong, but they're the ones coming at me. Q2 later on, we see Crosshair. He's down. He picks up his gun and he aims at her and he's like, not today. Boom! The theme comes back up. Dun, 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 and he throws the weapons at Wrecker and he throws the weapon at Hunter. And they're like, look, we're not going down without a fight. Holy hell. This scene, I don't have to go into that anymore. Other than this scene implements how important music is to Star Wars. Music is the backbone of what makes Star Wars so incredible. And their Bad Batch theme is 100% necessary in moments exactly like this. Obviously, the intro is going to be boom, ba-da-boom, boom, ba, and he's like, wow, cool. That's identifiably the Bad Batch. But in the moments where they're united and they're together and you really need to show that extra, where the bros, we see stuff with the theme. And oh my God, was it badass when they joined. They got absolutely wrecked. It was nothing. Right? It was nothing to Asajj. She destroyed them. But it was cool seeing them going, if we get this same batch, Crosshair didn't seem as shaky when he was doing it. So if we get this same batch and we have the power of Asajj Ventress on their side, man, Mount Tantus is going down. It's going down. Yeah, it's just, when you see moments that are very poignant, that mean more, they have the most incredible music backing them. There's nothing else other than an incredible soundtrack to kind of drive home the themes of the episode. And The Batch are back at full strength together. I think that's pretty fucking awesome. Okay, so we see Asajj Ventress as they kind of get together and they go with the guns. She brings out her lightsaber. I love that she kept her old hilt. That was super important to me. Obviously, it shows her lineage with Dooku and so on, but it was such an inherent Asajj Ventress trait to have those curved hilts. And then with the yellow lightsaber, if you don't know what a yellow lightsaber means at home, a yellow lightsaber basically means that you are not necessarily on either side of the Force. You care more about knowledge and wisdom. You are a guardian of the Force itself. What a grey Jedi, if they even exist. For those who watch and they're like, there's no grey Jedi. I'll give you, if they even really exist. Filoni's one of those grey Jedi hater. But yeah, it's the guardians of the Force. Notable users of the yellow lightsaber, obviously, Asajj Ventress. Wow. Rey Skywalker. I'm not going to call her Rey Palpatine. Don't even fucking start me. And also the Temple Guards in the Clone Wars, who are protecting the Jedi Temple. Guardians of the Force, guardians of knowledge, guardians of wisdom. So it's really cool to see that although Asajj has gone down a path separate to that of the light side, now her redemption arc is coming through and she is becoming more of a guardian of Jedi traits. Even she admitted she doesn't know much about Jedi stuff, but hey, she has the general themes. And I thought it was really cool was that she is now truly the leader of the path. She's turned herself around and she's become such an incredible character that if they don't make a spin-off of her and Omega, I'm going to be really upset. Anyways, they brought up a quote in this episode a little later on. Asajj says, and I've put it here, "We were both pawns in the same war, and we both lost." Is there good? Is there bad? There's just a misunderstanding. Obviously, some people can do really bad things. I'm never going to put that aside. But that quote really rung home. I know, especially for the Batch. And I think that was their tipping point to be like, yeah, this girl's all right. I like her. She's a misfit, but they're all misfits. They were used in the war, and now they've got nothing. She was used in the war, but now she's creating something. So maybe it's good to stick with her. Maybe Omega needs someone like her to lead her down the right path. But to understand that they are different and she does bad things. Because Omega's not the best person. She gambles like crazy. She runs around and she does all of these bounty missions with the Batch. But she has a beautiful heart. She has an amazing soul, one similar to Luke, that I think Asajj could kind of tap in and she would be the perfect master for Omega. Someone who can control both the light and the dark whilst leaning towards the light a lot more with her characteristics and what she truly believes in. So after the fight and they're like, look, we're taking you away. I've talked about how she gives Crosshair that speech of, I gave you a chance. And Omega is the definition of redemption for every character. She just kind of gives the pathway of this redemption's possible. What I really liked about it was the fact that Omega is different. She is not, maybe even if she's not a Jedi, she's Jedi-esque. She could be a huge player in the rebellion. Are we going to see it? I don't know. But her being the voice of reason allows for so much in this show, especially this season, to change, to be better, to do better. Maybe I'm reading into a bit too much, but I think she's actually leading to be one of the best characters that Star Wars has ever created. I didn't even like her in the first 2 seasons. I thought she was the most annoying kid. But she's really coming into her own here. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Omega struggles to tap into the Force. Sure. I don't think she actually struggles that much. I think Asajj is actually just needing to train her to understand exactly what we were talking about before. Controlling your urges. Controlling when you give up. How to put more into something. She needs a mentor. She doesn't... All of the batch... Like, you've got Hunter, who's obviously the father, but the rest of the batch are kind of like fun uncles. Right? You need a mentor. She emulates every single one of the batch, but she needs a mentor to be able to harness that, to turn herself into who she truly is. We got to see a new beast, which was kind of cool. It is called a Wraithen. All right. It's kind of like an octopus and a hermit crab mixed together. I thought it was so cool. But what I really liked with that was Asajj, although she is good now, and she's very clearly good, she doesn't even kill the batch when she could kill them like that. She searches out. Omega's like, oh, I bet you can't do it. Oh, you're just trying to play me around. And Asajj goes, watch this. And she reaches out and she sees the beauty. She sees those little glowy jellyfish or glowy fish. I don't know really what they were. Swimming around in a big school. And she's got that beautiful light side. And Omega's like, wow, this is beautiful. But Asajj can't get rid of her bad side. She can't get rid of the darkness that's in her. And she accidentally summons this huge beast that wants to kill her. I think that's really cool. They didn't purge her of her sins, but she accepts them. And because of what she was before, she can become who she is now. Keep with the dark themes. Keep Omega along the right path. And I think we've got a killer duo coming up for this episode. Or for this potential show that I keep spinning. So we get towards the end of the episode. Basically, obviously, you've seen it. Asajj, she uses beast taming and she calms the Wraithen, or the Varathan. I don't know if I'm saying it right. What I really thought was so cool was in the animation how they got that beautiful shell color changing. I really like that creature. I thought that maybe that'd be kind of cool even later. So like if the Empire come up to Pabu to kind of take over, that maybe the Wraithen can come up and be like, "Rah!" And they're like, oh, what the hell? It's really cool as well to have that contrast. Kind of like Luke's little island of Arcto, how it's got the beautiful scenery and it's got the ancient Jedi, but it's also got that really dark. Everything in Star Wars is balance, and I love that they're keeping to the same line. Omega is so attached to the batch that she won't actually be able to move on without them, which is exactly why Asajj Ventress lies and says that she can't use the Force. Because she knows that, look, the batch are going to be with her the whole time, so she's never going to be able to properly use the Force. So forget about it. Just move on. Crosshair calls it out really easily, and I love that he does, because it's so Crosshair fashion, like, you're lying. But she's doing it actually to help the batch at the same time. I think, like Grogu and Mando, they are going to go through their journey together. Like Omega will go through her journey with the batch together. They will move on, and I think all of the batch are going to die. Omega is going to be the last one alive. Ventress might come in to save them, and then Ventress will take her away and train her to be a Jedi. Just like I think Mando's going to die, Grogu is going to move on from Mando to go back to even potentially Luke or another Jedi later on. Who knows where they're going to go there with Grogu. But the important thing is the batch right now. So we finish off, and Ventress basically lets the batch know Pabu isn't safe. The Empire can find them, and the Empire will find them. It's gloomy. It's dark. Something big's going to happen in these next 2 episodes, because the next week is going to be a 2-episode drop. And then she kind of brings out like a little reference to the Dark Disciple. I've got multiple lives left. Why did I say it like Crosshair? But she's like, I've got multiple lives left. Kind of like, hey, look, you thought I died in that previous one? Well, I'm still alive, and I'm going to keep on living for a long time. Is that because of Night Sister magic? Is Asajj Ventress alive purely because of Night Sister magic? Is she truly dead, but this is her soul, how it continues on? Or maybe she's using some really disgusting sacrifice of life. Hopefully the sacrifice didn't give her that disgusting pasta hair that she's got. It looks really weird. It looks like pasta that you've just kind of cut up and you've rolled through. Anyways, wow. Okay, that was the end of the episode. I thought, honestly, it was such an awesome journey that we went on. Such an awesome themes that they've got brought in. And honestly, we're going to see some really cool stuff leading up to it. I hope that Asajj is in it more. The guys at Beyond the Dune Sea actually called it that Asajj was going to be in this episode. So I can't wait to watch them kind of show off that was the case. But it's really cool to see that, well, things are going to be pretty bad for the Batch. All the sunshine and rainbows is over. The Empire's here. And there's a reason why they stay on much longer. So, let's go into the fan reactions. Scoured the internet. I've had the benefit of hindsight. I've been able to see over a couple of days after. I thought it would be completely the opposite, but everyone loves that Ventress is back. I thought everyone's going to be like, oh, but they've retconned the Dark Disciple. They've done it well. Everyone's happy. I have not seen any negative comments on Asajj being back, but a lot of people are leaning towards the same thing that I have brought up as well. This is the end of the Batch. Is Ventress going to be Omega's new path? I guess we'll find out. So let's get into theories for next week's episode. Oh, episodes. Next week's episodes. I think it's going to be the Empire comes to Pabu. First of all, they have to. They're not safe. They know exactly. Hemlock is right on their trail anyway. He's going to be there. And I hope that Asajj is still there at the same time. I don't want it to be like a Rex and Echo, like, oh yeah, we'll meet up with you later. No, stay with him. It'll be helpful. I think Omega regrets not having Ventress with the Batch and brings her back. Maybe Ventress tries to go. And Omega's like, no, you have to stay. Like, you have to be with us. You have to help us. And I think she stays. I also think that Ventress is going to save the Batch from the Empire on Pabu. She's going to have her little redemption moment. So I think that's in the next 2 episodes because it's going to be a double drop. It's going to be a huge one. So we'll see. Then we have the theories for the remaining seasons. But let's give it just one theory, actually, because this has dragged on quite a bit. Just like I said before, the Batch will die and Omega goes to train with Ventress. That's in the next episodes coming up. I think we're going to see them picked off kind of like a Predator, like Predator went through and just like slowly knocked off every individual one until it was left with Arnold like, ow, rub myself in mud, and then you cannot get me, I will kill you. Best Arnold impression you've ever heard in your life. But let's go to fan questions. I've got them here on my phone. Let's get these up right now. Boom, 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 boom. We've actually got a lot of questions. We have one I'll do first from the previous week from Connor at Beyond the Dune Sea. He has a question here. Who do you think was on the transmission to Fennec? I think it was already answered in this previous episode, but it was Asajj Ventress. So I'm sorry I didn't see that last week. I would have answered it then, but I kind of I put the question thing up a little too late, and then I was already filming as you answered. But onto this week's questions, we have one from Tia Galanos. A return? What? That's crazy. She says, "Would you be on the light or the dark side?" Good question, Tia. It's fantastic. It's almost like you're in the other room. I can hear you. So would you be on the light side or the dark side? I've talked about this with my best mate, Josh, so many times. I think I'd be on the dark side. If I was a Force user, I'd be probably on the dark side. If not like a grey Jedi. But I think if we're just giving it black and white, which Star Wars is very black and white, yeah, I'd be on the dark side. I think I tap into my anger a little bit too much. I get quite angry with a lot of stuff. But personally, if I was in the Star Wars universe, I actually wouldn't want to even use the Force. I'd want to be a Mandalorian. What? It's crazy. Then we have one from Mariah Galanos. Why is Clone Wars so goddamn long? This is a two-parter question. And why does there need to be that many episodes and seasons of a spin-off show? What the fuck? Thank you, Mariah Galanos. Why is the Clone Wars so goddamn long? Because it was peak Star Wars. It's incredible. Watch it and you'll realize why they did so many. Because it's so easy. The Senator is in trouble. That was a good impression. Josh is going to be very happy with that one. He can do it so much better than me, though. I'll have him on one episode, hopefully. Why is it so goddamn long? Well, because it goddamn is. And move on. Forget about it. Watch it and learn, sister. And then, why does that need to be so many episodes and seasons in a spin-off show? Well, because I think The Bad Batch actually wasn't meant to be this long. But it's a really successful show. They've done so many episodes because they can actually add so much with a defective crew. And then so many seasons, well, because they wanted to drag out and make as much money as they possibly could. So yeah. Anyways, we have the last question from Jeremy Blore. Who's that guy? Who is that guy? First of all, what a great name. What a great name. What a great dude. Sounds like such a stand-up bloke. He says, and probably in such a handsome way, are you going to do more short-form content? Well, Jeremy, so glad you ask. Yes, I am. I am going to, in the next couple of weeks, when I have a little more spare time, I'm going to start adding smaller videos and bigger clips from chunks of my podcast. I want to kind of get this to like the 30 to 45 minute range. Obviously, this went a little longer than usual because I can't stop talking. I should probably whittle it down to a couple of things and then only talk about that. But I loved this episode so much. So I'm going to be doing a lot more short form content as well. So I'll probably do reviews of games. I might do maybe even playthroughs of some games. Kind of just like give as much as I possibly can into the realms that I enjoy. Gaming, arts and craft, and just like talking. So let's get into our next segment. Boop, boop, boop. Power battles, which we got from Beyond the Dune Sea. So, as you know, I've got my little box going on back here. We have Power battles. Basically, I've filled it with 116 characters that I know off the top of my head. And I wanted to work that. I didn't really want to search any of them up. I kind of just wanted to, off the top of my head, go, which characters do I know, blah, 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 blah. And then I pin them against each other. So, let's give it a shake. All right, we look away. Ha, ha. Yeah, baby. Ooh. So we have Boba Fett. Oh, from Empire Strikes Back. Oh, this is going to rattle some bones. I love me some boba. I love me some boba. Okay. So then we have Bode Akuna again. Look, I'm going to say this quickly because I'm going to replace it. Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back. Bode means absolutely nothing to Boba, and he would be clapped within an instant. Because basically Boba's like god tier at that point. Okay, so let's dig in there. Let's dig in. Oh, we have Jaro Tapal. So Jaro Tapal was the master of... Actually, I'll put these back in there. Jaro Tapal was the master of Cal Kestis, who we saw through the Jedi series, Jedi Fallen Order, and also Survivor. But you don't actually see him in Jedi Survivor. But Jedi Fallen Order, he's like all throughout, and that was his progression. So anyways, we have Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back specifically, and we have Jaro Tapal versus I'm gonna go Jaro. Not only was he an absolute weapon, but if you see in the games how many clones he took down before he went down himself, we actually didn't even see him go down. We just saw Cal jettison off. Yeah, he took down so many clones. Yes, Boba is more effective than the clones, and he probably has Jedi countermeasurative features. But the important part of that is also his pure strength. Now, Jaro Tapal was the same species. His species was the same as... wait, let's search this up. I can't do that. I can't do him bad. So Jaro Tapal species. Okay, he is a Lasat, the same as Zeb from Rebels. Basically, Lasats were the original creation of what the Wookiees were going to be, which I love that they used that in Rebels as kind of like a character design. His pure strength, his skill with a lightsaber, I think Jaro Tapal has got it in the bag. But it's going to take him a while because Boba is super strong. Just don't think he's strong enough. I think later on, he could have gotten him. After Empire Strikes Back, I think Return of the Jedi level, he could have gotten him. Even though it wasn't that far apart, he made a lot of advancements. And he kind of understood Jedi at that point because he'd been working as a right hand of Vader that whole time. But I think for the Empire Strikes Back version of Boba, yep, Jaro Tapal. Anyways, that was awesome. And then let's do the questions for the audience. What? Okay, questions that I have got for you guys. By the way, guys, if you want to ask any questions in the comment section down below, please feel free. I'll be answering those all throughout the week. As much as I possibly can. Even send me a DM on Instagram. I'll answer anything and everything. So send through whatever you want. So, questions for the audience. Do you think Omega and Ventress are going to be Master and Padawan? Oh, personally, that's going to be my biggest bet. Secondly, do you think that the Empire will destroy Pabu? That's number 2. And 3, will the batch all die within the next couple of episodes? And you think, oh, Jeremy, that's not possible. There's going to be so many more episodes coming up. Like, surely they're going to survive. I think they're going to start picking them off. And I think the first one to go is Wrecker. But that's just me. Look, Wrecker is my favorite. I know I have a hunter. I have a hunter figurine, but Wrecker being my favorite, I still think he's gone next because his character is kind of just at the end of development. Like he doesn't need any more. Crosshair, they've pumped him up too much. He can't die until, I think, at the very end. I think Hunter's going to die before Crosshair, and Crosshair's going to turn into more of a father figure because of his death. And Hunter's going to die. Whoa. So yeah, let me know what you think. Answer those questions down below or send me an Instagram response. Anything you want. I'm also going to be starting up a TikTok soon. So if it's available on TikTok, give it a check. But guys, that's going to be that for this episode. Thank you so much for joining. The next episode is going to be a breakdown of episode... I said episode so many times in one go. Episodes 10 and 11 of The Bad Batch Season 3. So come on down. Hopefully my jaw is fixed so I can kind of talk a little better. But guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following along. For all of you that have liked this video and liked previous videos, thank you so much. For all of you just watching, even if it's for a minute, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everything everyone's been doing for me. I'm really loving this journey. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. Awesome.